All right, speaking of UFC 287, we also have a main event deets. And just when we thought we were done seeing fighters compete for the fourth time, here we go again. Alex Pereira versus Israel Adesanya 4. No, I'm just kidding. It would be Pereira versus Adesanya 2, but they did fight 2 other times in kickboxing. That's for all you casuals. I'm clearing that up. All right, currently the odds makers have Adesanya listed as a favorite in the range of minus 155 to 210. The comeback is plus 135 to plus 180. So I'm giving you that because that was quite a disparity I saw with the different houses when these odds came up. All right, what is your early lean on this fight? And Goes, we're going to start off with you.
Early lean would be Israel Adesanya. I mean, this fight means everything for him. This is all about his legacy at middleweight right here. Because if you look at history, right, like let's take a guy like Mike Tyson, right? How destructive he was, how long he went without losing. But at the end of the day, if you bring up the name Evander Holyfield, we stop talking about Mike Tyson, right? This is what could potentially happen to Israel Adesanya. That's what we're dealing with here. So we're not going to know until we get to that moment. But what history has shown us is Israel Adesanya in his head, I think he's going to be okay. We know he's going to be focused. We know how he treats all this stuff. He knows what's on the line. For me, it's not so much all the things that he says going into the fight. It's the actual fight. What happens? Because we all know that deep down in his mind, he knows how that fight went. He knows he has advantages that he took advantage of in that first fight, and he probably can in the second one. But guess what? Pereira's trying to get better, right, this whole time. So who knows what happens? But that second he gets cracked, if it's, oh my God, here we go again, or if it's, let's go, let's do this, we won't know. And I don't even think Israel Adesanya will know until that moment happens. But if he can go in there and get the win, I wouldn't be shocked. If he gets the loss, it's going to be heartbreaking because that guy's just going to always have his number. But at the same time, how long can a guy like Alex Pereira reign, right? Like, he doesn't really give us that vibe that bring in a wrestler, I'll take care of him. Bring in a BJJ guy, I'll take care of him. Like, he doesn't give off that vibe. The vibe he gives off is I own Israel Adesanya, not the division.
He also gives off a vibe like 205 would be a lot more fun than 185. That is a giant. So, yeah, he could get Robert Whittaker, man. 0-2 against the champ. What can you do, right? All right, Fada, you're next.
Yeah, I don't think it signifies kind of an end or anything for Adesanya if he loses to Pereira because he's kind of wiped out the division, right? So at the end of the day, if Alex Pereira reigns as champion and stays champion and defends his title for many years, then okay, that's a different discussion that obviously is way, way too early. But I think if Adesanya loses to Pereira, he's wiped out the division. If Pereira just loses to anybody else, Adesanya will already have a win. Whether he loses to Whittaker or Vettori, whoever is at the top, Adesanya pretty much has a win over the majority of the division. So I think Adesanya gets put right back in the title picture because a lot of these guys are going to want their revenge and they're going to have the belt and they're going to kind of be the A side in this. So for Adesanya, I think he'll be okay. In terms of an early lean, man, initially it was Adesanya for me, but I don't know. The thing that impressed me about Pereira so much is how he carried that power so late into the fight, especially that they got into those grappling exchanges and especially that he looked pretty fatigued. And the fact that he still had that equalizer late into the fight, into round 5, it's pretty insane to me. So I don't know. I think now I'm kind of starting to sway towards Pereira. I might change my mind again before the fight, but the fact that he carried that power so late into the fight, despite being like tired. And I know grappling seems to be a bit of a hole in his grappling, but Adesanya is not a grappling specialist either. So I think in that like regard, he's going to be fine. But yeah, the power that he carried, the power that he carried throughout the whole fight, that's what impressed me the most. So right now, I think I'm swaying towards Pereira a little bit, just because as well he's got the mental advantage with all the wins.
All right, good stuff. Mikey in the chat says, I'll cry if Adesanya loses again. How about you, Danny? Would you feel the same?
No, I probably won't cry. But look, if we're talking about an early lean, I'm going to go with Adesanya. Yeah, he did get stopped. But prior to that, he was pretty much putting a whooping on Pereira. Now, it wasn't a bad one, but it was pretty clear that he was up on the scorecards. And, you know, afterwards, when they revealed what the judges had judged the fight until then, I mean, it confirmed everybody's judging of the fight. I do, it's weird. I do think he is the better fighter, but you add that power factor and all of a sudden, you know, the equation changes a bit. We'll see what happens in terms of a result. I think if Adesanya loses, it's not career-ending, but it does put him in a very difficult situation. I don't think he's very big to go up to 205 and commit there. He could go there and have some success because he's very skilled, but I do think his body and frame is better suited for 185. The best thing that he would have going for him is just to maybe take some time off or take a couple fun fights here and there. And then, just hope that Alex Pereira either loses or goes up to 205, which that's a very, very possible option. I know you mentioned it at the beginning, George. Let's not forget, I feel like the whole Glover and Alex Pereira relationship is very similar to the Cain Velasquez and Daniel Cormier. Who knows? Maybe Pereira is kind of hurting himself a little bit in the sense of cutting a bit of extra weight to compete at 185 because his mentor, is still in the title conversation at 205. Obviously, that's no longer in place. Glover Teixeira retired. So it might just open the doors for him to go up to 205 and make that his division because he is a pretty big dude. 185 does seem like he's barely making it, although, he hasn't had any weight issues. I do wonder how much stress he puts on his body just to make that cut. So I think a lot of of what could happen with Adesanya if he loses is wait and see. But yeah, I would definitely put him in a tough situation.